Hey, it's Lee for On Your Marks Wrestling, and I'm here with a Ring of Honor TV review for April 10th, 2018. Now, I said April 10th, 2018, and that's because that's when it airs in Canada on our channel here, which is Fight Network. Apparently, these air on the weekend in the States. So, even though it's kind of hard to explain, but Supercard of Honor has already happened, but this episode of TV that I'm reviewing occurred before Supercard of Honor. The good news is that ROH was having major issues with their website, and you couldn't watch Supercard of Honor, or at least I couldn't. So I still haven't seen Supercard of Honor. So this leads into it perfectly. I will review this, and then I'll have Supercard of Honor up fairly soon. So for this episode, we start with a match between Shane Taylor and Punishment Martinez. There's a test of strength to start. Shane Taylor is a big man. Apparently he used to be even heavier, but now he's lost about 100 pounds over the past year. Punishment Martinez is huge as well. I wrote that Taylor has tree trunk legs. Like, they're massive. They look cartoonish. There's a cool spot with Taylor doing a cannonball on the outside. Punishment Martinez is a guy who just does a lot of cool moves in general. He's a big guy who moves like a little guy. He does a top rope Mitsunoku driver. And I don't want to say he was on the top rope. I'm saying Shane Taylor was. Martinez also does a really beautiful spinning kick at one point and follows that up with a tope con hilo. Both moves are very impressive, especially for a guy that size. Eventually, he hits the South of Heaven chokeslam, which it's kind of awesome, right? It's a chokeslam, but he sits it out instead of just standing, and it makes the move look so much better and completely unique. So I like it. Then we have Caprice Coleman on his pulpit. Apparently it's kind of like Piper's Pit, more or less. He has Jay Lethal on. Lethal says, "I'm only here because ROH asked me to do it. I don't like you. I don't like your show." He says you only use it to kind of get people frustrated. I don't know if this is a replay of something from past weeks or if it's fresh, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I just started watching Ring of Honor. Lethal says he gets 2 questions. Caprice asks if he'll keep trying to get the title. Basically says, like, you used to have the title, then you lost it, and then you tried last year to get the title, and you're going to try this year to get the title. Is that your plan for the next year too? Basically saying you're never winning the title again. Lethal gets a little frustrated. Caprice makes a lame bald joke that doesn't really land. Then says his second question. He works hard to find his second question. Then he says, "I heard that you once went out with AJ," because it stops there, but he's basically making reference to AJ Lee. It's just a stupid kind of thing, and Lethal gets frustrated, rips off the mic, and walks out. My notes are all over the place, so forgive the page turning. I'm running out of paper. We get the... did I not write my notes here? Maybe I skipped too much. Interesting. So we have Kazarian and Daniels cut a promo on Hiromu Takahashi. Says he's using childish moves. And he says, "You call yourself the time bomb, but I'm a bomb that you can't defuse." This Kazarian only is speaking. I said Kazarian and Daniels. Daniels is there because Kazarian's the only one who's talking. Cuts it. I thought a good promo. Caprice Coleman versus Jay Lethal comes on, and Coleman knocks Lethal off the apron during his intro, and then they go to the outside, and it's just like a chop fest. It's all chops, very violent chops, tons of them. At one point, after a bunch of chops, Coleman kind of is thrown into the ring, but then he flings himself out of the ring, and I just thought it looked really cool how he did it. And then he just eats more chops, and there's a suplex on the outside, but it's mostly just chops. Lethal hits a dive, which is kind of his classic move, a suicide dive. Eventually, I thought one of the more interesting parts of the match was essentially like a Cobra clutch type thing with a Russian leg sweep, and this clutch stayed on, and Coleman just keeps holding that hold for a while, but Lethal fights out of it. Eventually, Lethal hits his cutter. I don't know what the move is of it. But yeah, it's basically where he does a flip into the ropes, bounces back. It's like a springboard, essentially. Cutter. Looks cool. Hits it perfectly. Gets the win. Excuse me. Then the main event is Christopher Daniels versus Cody Rhodes, or Cody, and versus Matt Taven. I've never seen Matt Taven before. Cody Rhodes comes out with a bear. This bear is apparently different from a previous bear that he had. I don't know the whole bear story. But this bear is called Bernard the Business Bear. He's much more serious than the other bear. I wrote that this, and there was a lot of spots in this, but I was getting tired because I watched a lot of wrestling today. I wrote it was a pretty evenly match throughout. Eventually, there's a few things that happened on the outside. There were some notable spots on the outside, like Rhodes diving outside, and Daniels doing his kind of bounce off the top rope, tope, and things like that. Rhodes eventually hits we get to the end, Rhodes hits a crossroads on Daniels, and he goes for the pin. Looks like he's going to get the win. And Taven flies in with a frog splash onto Rhodes and Daniels, moves Rhodes over, and pins Daniels for the win. It was a really well-timed final spot. It looked cool. The only other notable thing was that just before that final sequence, Rhodes did mimic Kenny Omega with the whole like hands on the ground, preparing for the V-trigger. It was good. It was all right. The final spot was really cool. The whole episode had a weird, like, I really liked the beginning. I really kind of like that final spot. The in-between stuff, the Jay Lethal match, I was really bored by it. But overall, pretty decent. I'm going to go ahead and give it kind of same score I gave a few other things today. 6.5 out of 10. I feel like it's, 2/3 good. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to hopefully have the Supercard of Honor review done by tomorrow. If not, maybe the next day. I will have an NXT review tomorrow, though. Thanks again.